As guitarists, we are fascinated by the sound of our instrument. That's why we picked it up. There's no such a variety in sounds and moods, atmospheres, intimacy and aggressiveness as in the guitar. And it was some decades ago that Hector Berlioz stated that the guitar is a small orchestra. And I think this is not just a saying, it's really true. And every day we try to improve this magic. We try to improve what we create with the six string and the wooden box we have in our hands. We are aware that there are three main factors how to create sound. The first is our individual choice of the guitar we play. So this, for example, is a Santos Hernandez from 1941. So absolutely classical example of the Madrid school, the golden age of the Spanish guitar. Or you might play a very modern guitar. I just got a guitar by Andrea Tacchi, which is maybe double that heavy than this guitar, which has a different construction with a very solid body and a very tricky balance in the top, which gives a piano-like sound. It reminds me to some of the early Steinway pianos from the 30s, and it's very fascinating and very strong, but it's the opposite to this guitar. This guitar is also very strong, but it's another construction. And this construction comes from Antonio de Torres. And the idea and the ideal of Torres was to create a very light but powerful instrument. So where everything is ringing, resonating, the back, the sides, the top, the whole instrument. So that's an opposite concept. Or you might prefer a double top guitar with the thin layers in the top and with a very fast, very strong sound, and which will tend to be more percussive and have a bit less colors than the Spanish sound, but it's stronger. Okay, or you go into the lattice construction, which is something in between the double top and the traditional making. So there are a great variety. And if you go back to the historical instruments, we find that in the time of Torres, a guitar from Paris, like a René Lacote or a Stauffer from Vienna, again has an entirely different sound, which is very brilliant on the treble and is a bit dry on the bass, because the resonance of these instruments, which have a stiff back, is pretty high. So there's a gigantic choice of instruments, and we have dozens, if not hundreds, of guitar makers on this planet. So you have chosen that what is the most familiar for you or the most empathic for your inner feeling of sound. The second factor are the strings. We have also a huge variety of strings. Historical, the whole thing started with gut strings. And the gut string was followed then by the nylon string by Augustine Company. And today we have some more creations like the Nile gut by Aquila, well, not by Aquila, but by Mimo Peruffo. And he also created a biocarbon string. So there are various ways. So the difference between that would be the gut string has a very human sound. It's made from a biological material, and it's not so brilliant, and it's very on the bass, based on the ground notes, on the fundamentals, and gives a very cantabile, dark sound. We know it from the lute. The nylon is more brilliant and still has a bit of the gut touch, but it has more overtones, and if you play with fingernails, it's much more appropriate than the gut string, which doesn't like fingernails that kill the gut string. And for more sustain, we have what I mentioned, for example, the Nile gut invention by Mimo Peruffo called Aquila strings, which are also used by many of the lute players. And because they give a long sustain and a very clear sound, they're a little bit thinner in character. They're a bit less cantabile, if you like. So it's your choice what you do. And of course also the combination, which kind of guitar with which kind of string. So for example, for the famous La Leona, built 1856 by Antonio de Torres, I'm opting for a light string. So I personally use a Savara string with a chorum basis and the crystal trebles, and with a carbon third string. This combination works well for me. I prefer that to a gut string, which would be authentic for the Taurus, but practicability is reduced if you play with fingernails, and too complicated for my taste, and too dark in sound. Okay, this could go endless with strings and with the guitars. Let's come to the third factor. The third factor of the scale is how do we play? How do we attack the string? We can have a very metallic attack like the so this is almost like a steel string guitar, a very open sound. Or we go into something very or we go into a dark, old school Spanish sound, very expressive, very singing. So this is the point. But for that, we need these tools. So we have to shape our fingernails. Like the oboe players, they have to shape their mouthpiece. And with this are millions of theories how to fail nails. I won't explain that now, that's the wrong place here. But it's an important factor, how, in which angle we play. If we play rest stroke or apoyando, we will have a sound which has a very good fundamentals and is also clear on the trebles. And we can create a lot of color. Or we have a free stroke where we have a more piano-like sound, like so these are the possibilities we have with attack and how we file the nails. So these were the three main factors: the guitar, the strings, our attack, and how we shape the nails. I discovered another important factor for the quality of the guitar. Let me tell you the story of this guitar. Santos Hernandez built this guitar in Madrid in 1941. In late 2023, I bought this instrument, and it's a fantastic, rare vintage master guitar from Spain. It's in mint condition, it's beautiful, and well, the best you could get. And I decided that the machines, and this guitar were probably the original machines, but they were really old and worn out. So when we put them off, the shafts were showing in any direction, they were loose, and the machines were just not anymore good. So in this situation, with this high-class guitar, and this is equal for any top-class guitar you have, which may range from 5,000 euro to up to 50,000 or even more, no matter if vintage or new or whatever. So I decided for me, the best possible solution to get a Scheller machine from Germany. I decided for these machines because that Scheller machines are first very precisely, they're handmade, they are individually crafted for the instrument. For example, here the distance between the shafts is not the standard we have in the industry today. So they're really individually. Also, the size of these plates and the lengths, they have to fit to this head. So handmade especially for this guitar. And I choose also the design for the graving of the ornament. And I also knew that these machines work absolutely smooth. You can tune, and without correcting, you get right the exact pitch. And intonation is so important musically for all us guitarists. Guitars out of tune are horrible. We need a good ear, and we need good machines which give us very fast a good result, also in stage and in the studio. Okay, now comes a surprise. We put the Scheller machines, we had to wait a few weeks because they were handmade, and we put them in with the utmost care possible, absolutely precisely. And then we put the strings on, I played the guitar, and the sound I was spellbound. It really crashed me. It was something like 30% better than before. So how can that be? Okay, for this, let me tell you the simple basics of how a string works. If we remember Pythagoras, he had a monochord. That means he had two blocks, a construction, and a string between these blocks. So that was very simple and easy. He could do his experiments with the overtones. And with the guitar, we have a similar situation. Here's one block, here's no block, but here are the machines. So it is very important that the fixing of the string has the same quality here as here, so that the energy plucking the string goes from the bridge on the top. The top makes the whole body vibrate, depending on the construction, and the air inside. The energy goes from the body into the neck, from the neck in the machines and the shafts to the string back. So this is the circle, which is important that this has to be in a perfect balance so that the string can resonate with the highest possible output. Okay, so what was so stunning when we put that on? I didn't expect that the guitar sounds different, and not at all I could expect it sounds better and that much better. So first of all, the sound was more clear, the overtones were more advanced, you had more harmonics, you had definitely more volume, and most important, a longer sustain. That's where all guitars dream of, a loud and long sustaining guitar, and with a clear sound. So here we have it. The machine must not be the weakest point of the whole system. So I'm so happy that I discovered that, and I can only recommend to anybody out there, if you have a high quality guitar, do the favor to your instrument and get the best machine you can get. I decided for Scheller, and you can go on with your grand voyage, with a great trip into the secrets of the guitar sound, in the mystic, in the fantasy, and soundscapes. That's why you picked up the guitar. And you know, you did everything at its best. You have a good instrument, you have decided for the best possible strings for your instrument, you have a great attack, you style your nails in the best way, and you have the best machine. Okay, what more can you desire? That's it. Have a good time with your guitar.